The game's the game, yeah?
That's a step up.
A fight's a fight. No, don't worry about it's a step over. It's done. What I'm saying now is all bets are off.
Conor has that, and Tony has the task of having to do that with Conor. He has to make sure that he uses that fire and that aggression and that real will to win in the right.
Going for a lot for Conor Benn with the spitefulness and the hatred that he has. And I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But you know, I'm looking forward to that fight.
It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of...
Due to the two boxers' drastically different weight classifications, many boxing experts believe the match is unfair. The primary concern is that Eubank Jr., who has fought at a higher weight class for the majority of his career, will require...
I can't wait. I mean, look, Eubank's playing a blinder for the promotion of the fight. I mean, a little bit annoying. I mean, unfortunately, if I could fight, I'd want to give him a slap myself, but that's not going to happen. So, Conor's fired up. I mean, honestly, I've never seen someone put themselves through what he is putting himself through in training camp. He is going to be like a caged animal when that bell goes on April 26th. A big disadvantage in size, but he makes up for it in attribute, hunger, youth, tenacity, volatility, and he is in camp with his dad, grafting and dreaming every day of violating Chris Eubank Jr. on April 26th and doing it in spectacular fashion. And I can't.
Benn to move up 2 weight classes. This significant leap raises questions about Benn's capacity to manage the strength and physical demands of super middleweight boxing. The majority of individuals concur that Eubank Jr. may win a fight because size and weight advantages are sometimes crucial in determining the outcome.
It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. He's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down and, with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch. He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves and, the list goes on. It's a mismatch in ability and...
Spencer Finn, a renowned and esteemed boxing commentator, discusses the lengthy history between the Benn and Eubank families. He claims that the rivalry that arose from their fabled battles with their dads adds interest to the upcoming conflict with fear.
And the hatred that he has, and I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But I'm looking forward to that fight for the simple fact is that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. Plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and the second time is when they fought in October of '93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight. And this has drawn something from it because everybody's talking about it. And fair play to both men. They're selling the fight really well, which is genuine. It's not orchestrated. Oh, you're gonna do this. No, it's proper. So I'm looking forward to that fight. May the better man win.
Yeah, for sure.
Additionally, he claims that the rivalry has been passed down from generation to generation, attracting attention and making it a highly discussed battle. In addition to adding intrigue to the narrative, the historical context increases the pressure on both combatants to preserve their family names.
So yes, attacks to the body going to be paramount. I think the jab, crucial. I think out of the two, Conor has the better jab. At times, Eubank Jr.'s jab's been non-existent. We see him starting to use his jab a little bit more under his short time with Roy Jones, but it's a shot that he neglects. So yeah, I think variation certainly from Conor Benn is going to be much needed on April 26th.
Obviously, we've seen quite a fiery build-up between the pair. Do you feel like Junior's trying to play up to that, trying to get beneath the skin of Conor Benn and hoping that he just disrupts him and his mentality going through his camp and ultimately leading up to fight night?
Yeah, I think so. That's maturity and experience. That's how. But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his dad's son. His dad was as fiery as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery. But yeah, he's. I would have thought he's won quite a lot of people over, Chris Eubank Jr. Although him and his dad have always been Marmite, you either love him or you hate him. I think where he's been so outspoken and he said things a lot of people probably wouldn't have. People have sort of warmed to him, but you know, there's always a goodie and a villain in a lot of these grudge matches. But this one seems to really a split opinion. You know, they both.
In addition to adding intrigue to the narrative, the historical context increases the pressure on both combatants to preserve their family names. Conor Benn has openly communicated the significance of his father Nigel's legacy. Benn, on the competition between Eubank, he pointed to the emotional and personal elements of the matchup by jokingly asking why his father abandoned him to handle the ongoing conflict.
You see that one going?
Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chance are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like, even the stuff he's doing now, he's going to continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset that one time. So I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about it, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but...
This open admission highlights the particular difficulties. Ben is juggling his personal background with his career objectives. Former middleweight champion Darren Barker highlights how important the jab is in this battle, saying that Conor Benn's superior jab could prove to be the difference between the two of them. Barker notes that Eubank Jr. anti-size rhythm and strategy might be upset by Benn's innate aggression and a skillful jab.
The Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight does absolutely nothing for me.
Really?
Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. lost to George Groves, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders, he doesn't box, he boxes once a year. He looked terrible in his last fight. He was slow with his jab, he was leaving his chin in the air, his balance looks like it's gone. He's 36 years old, talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez and taking on all these top, he was talking about Triple G for a while, who's now gone 40 and retired. Conor Benn, what's Conor Benn done?
Not a lot, to be fair.
He beat Chris Algieri and failed, he's failed that drugs test. We're not seeing him do anything. He's fought nobody, he's not developed. He's not developed, he's done nothing. So for Conor Benn to jump in there with Chris Eubank Jr., the only reason that fight would be close is because they're probably going to drain Eubank down to 160, a middleweight. And then, but Conor Benn's having to come up from 147. So
gap there,
it's not an exciting fight, it don't prove anything.
This technical insight implies that Benn's skill set could provide Eubank Jr. with serious issues, despite the size disadvantage. Chris Eubank Jr. has worked closely with famous trainer Roy Jones Jr., who attests to his significant progress. Jones highlights that Eubank Jr.'s improved abilities combined with his inherent size and power could pose significant challenges for Benn.
And won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. Do you know what I mean? For myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
Did you want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%, 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defences. It's all about just fighting the big fights.
Sure. It lines up.
If Benn's blows don't have a significant impact, Eubank Jr. could win the bout by using his physical advantages and honed methods. Carl Froch, the former super middleweight champion, has been ambivalent about the bout. He notes that Benn's comparatively unproven record at higher weight classes and Eubank Jr. Art AI's sparse fighting schedule detract from the intrigue of the bout. A portion of the boxing fraternity doubts the bout's entertainment value and competitive legitimacy in light of Froch's remarks.